I liked what you're doing. Why'd you stop? Wait. Do it again. I got to do it the opposite way so that we match. Hi, everybody. Welcome back once again to another special edition episode of Bandwidth and Banter. This is Legacy of Loremasters. I don't remember which one it is. It's like 10 or 11, I think. But we're definitely episode 115 of Bandwidth and Banter. And wow, what a treat. The last person that we had on regular Bandwidth and Banter was one of my favorite streamers of all time, Rhubarb. So guys, go check her out. She was amazing. Check out that interview. It will be live Wednesday. Or wait, is it already live? I'm confused my timeline. And as far as Legacy of Loremasters goes, was it Iltacine we had on last?
No, our last Legacy of Loremaster was with Survivalist Gaming.
Right, Survivalist Gaming. Okay, I was getting 10. Them flip-flopped in their order. Yeah. It's such a treat, such an interesting person and streamer. And he's sort of a newer D&D guy for the most part. I mean, he's been doing a long percentage of his life, but he's pretty young. The person we have on tonight is another amazing veteran like myself who's been doing this a long time. Probably not quite as long as me, but close enough. He and I appreciate that we both have this similar taste in art style and the older stuff. And it's been a treat because Druid, we've been able to play in his Strixhaven campaign, and that obviously spoils who it is. So let's go ahead and have on the show our amazing good friend Haavok RPG.
My big bro.
That's right.
Bro. Hi everyone. Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm super excited too, brother. I mean, since we've been playing with you, and of course, you know, even before that, when I'd seen some of your streams, we rated you and stuff. You're good peeps, and I could tell how much you have a passion for Dungeons and Dragons, so I want to hear all about what you got going on. And I'm gonna let Drew take it away because she gets to start the interview off tonight.
All right.
Please regale us with the story of your D&D origin story. When did you get into D&D? What made you fall in love with it?
So
all that jazz.
The first time I was kind of forced into playing Dungeons and Dragons. I wasn't given much of a choice. I was a young kid. I was playing with my friend Anthony. We were playing playing outside by the curb. You know, in New York City, You have the curbs. You sit on the curbs. So we were sitting on the curb playing, and Anthony's father, Tony, comes out. Old Italian dude with a heavy New York accent. Hey, what are you doing? I'm like, playing. What do you mean? And he basically told us, go get a couple of your friends and then come into the basement. And mind you, this is a long time ago, so some old guy telling you to come into the basement wasn't weird, but so we grab a couple other friends, and then we grab my friend Kevin and my friend Pico. And here we go, filing into the basement. So Anthony's there with his brother. I can't remember his brother's name. He was younger, but his brother, Anthony, me, Pico, and Nelson. Or Kevin. Sorry, Kevin. And his dad, Tony, starts giving us pieces of paper. And I'm a kid going what the hell's going on? You got homework? Damn. So he's like, these are your characters. We're playing some Dungeons and Dragons. Say again? What's that? Dungeons and Dragons. Just here's some dice. And then he gave us dice, and it was these odd-shaped little cubicles. Oh, okay, this is cool. And that was it. That was how I started playing Dungeons and Dragons.
I love that so much.
What was your first
friends coming?
Yeah, that's good.
So
what was your first impression of it?
My first impression was I didn't you don't know what's going on. There's a piece of paper with all these numbers on it, but then he started showing us pictures from the book, and it was oh, that's amazing. And that was it. As soon as you start seeing the artwork, you start want to know more. But then he was like, he would rent the movies for us. So like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So that was like our homework. Got to watch this. And that was back when, you had VHS and Beta. He'd give us the tapes and be like, here, go home, watch this. You learn all about it. So it was funny because our first campaign was like the Lord of the Rings, and I got to play the Ranger. I was a Ranger, and everybody was renamed. So it wasn't like Frodo or Strider. My character was like Badger, and then I don't remember what the other Hobbit's name was, like Bobo or something like that. So he just changed everybody's names, and we played Lord of the Rings on the table.
That's
It was
amazing.
great.
That's actually extra special because a lot of people don't know in the history of Dungeons and Dragons the reason why Gary Gygax and I forget the other guy's name basically designed and created it. They were big fans of tactical board game, not board games. They were at the types of tactical games where you have models, the precursor to
40K. They played like fantasy.
It was the
40K.
precursor to that, right? And it was basically back then. It was you would have different kinds of models that were you'd reenact different battle scenarios and stuff and war, and it was just really like you said precursor to 40K. But they literally wanted to play Lord of the Rings because they were really inspired by the books, and they came up with the first basic and expert set rules for it, and they were drastically different than they are nowadays. But I love what they've evolved to.
Oh yeah. I remember reading they wanted heroes on the table, so they had stats for armies and like regiments. But they was like, well, what about that one hero? What if I want to have Boromir? How am I going to? So that's how they started making up stats for individuals.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, that's how it came about. I remember we tried to play the original version of the game, which was Chainmail. My friend had a copy, and he had it sealed. He had it wrapped up and sealed, and we made him open it so we could play.
Oh wow!
So at the time, it wasn't. It was like, oh, this is the original D&D, but now I'm pretty sure he wants to kill us because we made him take it out the pack.
Yeah, that would have been worth a lot of money still in the pack. I mean, it's still worth a lot of money probably to a collector, but
oh yeah.
But I'm sure if you have memories of it, it's a lot different. Chainmail is a lot different than what we have today.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was like D&D, like everybody forgets. Original D&D was like just tactical fighting.
Yeah.
That was it. Like pretty much you fought stuff, and they just you're in a dungeon, you fight monsters because that's where monsters should live. The role play came later.
Right. And back then you needed graph paper to make your way through stuff because the dungeon master would have created a maze-like dungeon for everybody to wander around and run into monsters and stuff. And
it's not like now where the DMs give you these wonderful, here's a map, here's what you see. No, they would describe it. Goes 40 feet in front of you, 30 feet to the left, it's a squared off room, and they would describe it. And if you didn't map it out, you got lost.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it was fun as hell. It still is.
It is. Yeah, it was still fun.
I find it hilarious that we've now moved to what we do on your Strixhaven campaign is mostly all role playing.
Yeah, it has evolved so much. I mean, the role play part of it is like I like the tactical, but everybody's different. Like every player, I play with a lot of different players. And every player is a little bit different. So you have ones that love to role play and that's all they want to do. And you have ones that want to just go tactical. And then you have ones that you watch them flip the hat. Like I have one friend, he LARPs. He is a hardcore role player. Like he go into character, keep a voice, not drop it for the entire session. But the minute you say roll initiative, hat turns around. He's like, all right, this is what we're going to do. The voice is gone. He's talking to everybody like a sergeant. Like, Yo, dude, what happened to your character? Not now. I don't have time for that now. Stop it. Okay.
We're playing group chess right now, and
Yeah.
we're gonna win.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, I love roleplay. Roleplay is my favorite. Combat's really fun. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy a good combat, but I really do love the roleplay. Like, if Stormy did not interrupt the Kobayashi Force, it would have been 3 sessions of us just sitting around making up stories with each other
It
the
probably
entire time.
true that.
And he would
But
have just been sitting there like this
But
while
yeah,
we're just
that's
making up stories.
if that's how you enjoy playing the game, then that's how you go.
So, next
Yeah,
question or next topic. We would like to know what your DM style is for either crafting a campaign story from scratch or your DM style for just running a campaign, whether it's one from scratch or not.
they're almost about the same. It's basically controlled chaos. So when I'm doing a story from scratch, which I don't do too much anymore, like I take major campaigns and I might interject short stories into them.
Sure.
So I'll like side quests and stuff like that. And those usually come from my, but it might be something so simple as like I saw a picture I liked and I want to put it in the game. Or this map is really cool. I have to find a way to use it. It could just be me walking down the street and seeing a crack on the side of the street and be like, and my brain just goes story time, and I create a story out of it, and then it's like, all right, shape it into a campaign for the group. So like, why would they be in this crack? Like, why, what's in this crack? So you start filling in things. As far as running the games, it's almost the same thing because I run, pre-done campaigns where most of the story is there for you. But that's not really true. They give you an outline and they go, here's kind of what can happen. But your players will take that and say, nope, we want to go over here. We want to do this or we want to do that. So it's like you have to control it and basically say, all right, this is where I'm going to try and get to. But let me fill in a couple of things just in case they don't do what I think they're going to do or what this module expects them to do. So, yeah, it's basically a lot of improv, a lot of short notes to keep me like, if they go here, this might happen, but you can't possibly predict everything. So it's just like store up a bunch of knowledge and be ready to spit it out when you can. That's pretty
Yeah. Wouldn't you agree that that's like one of the most fun parts about being a DM, though, is that you have to improv and you have to come up with stuff on the fly because playing with actual humans is always going to create situations that you can't predict.
Oh yeah, I think that that's what I mean. It's like just the spontaneity, the things that they come up with. I think it's great. And being able to keep up with it is like one of the things I kind of pride myself on, that my players don't know when I've gone off script. You usually don't, unless they've read the module or they have no idea when I've gone off script. In fact, some of the best sessions have been off script. Like, or when they randomly ask, what's that person's name? And it's like, oh, you mean Scribble? Yeah. And then now you have an NPC that they're currently on a mission to save because one of them randomly asked, what's his name? And then he had a name, a personality, a job, and a little bit of role play. And now they're trying to save his life. And my daughter knows because she's one of the people trying to save him. Don't hurt him. I haven't heard him yet.
Yes.
Well, they're trying. They haven't found him yet. They've been searching for him technically for about 3 or 4 days, but they haven't found him yet. He's lost in the Undermountain.
You hear echoes? Is it?
When I'm getting too excited, do you hear me on Stormy's mic? Huh?
I
Your
don't know.
dad,
You
I
just
think.
do. You
It's
do
him
that
echoing. I had a
patronage.
feeling. Let me bring his volume down a tad more. He
Yeah.
is really good at projecting his voice. So, all right.
I
Thank you
had a lot of
for
sisters,
clarifying with the echo there.
middle child.
It's a hard
Middle child,
balance.
lost sisters.
You had to be loud to be heard,
Mhm.
growing up around all those kids. You did it, you didn't eat.
Yep. I grew up in a really big household too. Lots of sisters as well.
Mhm.
Interesting. Anyways, how do you go about designing interesting NPCs?
So NPC, sometimes I have planned NPCs.
Yeah.
So sometimes they're in a module and I'll read like, all right, what's this NPC's motivation, things like that. And generally I just had a personality to them. So
Mhm.
like there was one recently. He was a snob, he was a noble, and literally, if I mention him at the table, the party gets like agitated. They all hate him so much. So I did a good job. They hate him. But when you're doing them straight from your mind, it's basically like, all right, how is this person going to fit into the story? How is he going to progress the story? Sometimes it gets away from me though. Because you'll make somebody who's like, all this person's job was to do was to sell them a horse or a wagon. I think it was a wagon. Like they just got to sell them a wagon. That's it. They need a wagon to move the thing from here to here. All right, wagon vendor, no problem. This dude became their best friend, a source of information. When they wanted, like, they would go back to him, and he was and I was like, how did this happen? So, but a lot of my characters, they actually come out of like cartoons and TV shows. Like when I'm looking for personalities, I'm like, all right, Fred Flintstone, that's gonna be this guy. Barney Rubble, that's his buddy. Or old campaigns. A lot of my NPCs are like my PCs. If you're a player in my game, chances are you're going to be a PC and an NPC in another game. Bruce, yes. They remember the names. Sometimes I forget the names. I was like, this dude was only supposed to be here to give you something. That's it. Don't go back and look for him. But yeah, so it's just like I think about what they have to do, and then I start giving personalities. I pick something from like a past game, childhood, whatever, and be like, all right, you are now an NPC. But yeah, sometimes it just gets away. So I have to be careful because like I don't want you to talk to this person again. He's not integral to this story. Move on.
Like Lieutenant Dan Bruno.
I knew it. I was thinking the same. I was like, I knew it.
He was just a gate guard.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was a great moment, and I get what he's saying. Like for a DM, when your party goes off script like that, it's just a joy. Although there are times when you do need to get them back on track. So,
Mhm.
Like to be
so
roped in.
just on this topic a little bit longer, do you have a favorite NPC or recurring NPC or something like that?
I have a few of them. So I run a lot of campaigns. So I have a few recurring NPCs that I like. So in Dragonlance, I like basically the noble. Even though the party hates him, I like when he pops up in the story because you could see them get mad and want to murder him, but they're the good guys, so they can't. And this dude is like horrible. So I like when he shows up. In so I have done this to myself. So in Waterdeep, they own a tavern. Okay, they bought a tavern. Well, actually, they acquired the tavern. They basically beat out the old owners who were smuggling goods out of Waterdeep. So they have a tavern. Every person in that tavern is an NPC that was like adopted by them. So there's the tavern workers, which is a group of halflings, and they started out with 4, but now there's like 6 of them. There's a potted plant that's a living plant. Um, they have a ferret, a cat. No, wait, not a cat. A ferret and a rat. Louis the rat, who speaks with Biff. I mean, it's just a collection of characters that all live in this tavern. So when they're there, I have to do all these different voices. Oh, and then there's the manager and the cooks. and I enjoy all those characters, but they were a collection of characters from like 5 years of campaigning. So when they're there, it's a lot. It's like you talk about talking the voices in your head. That's the day. And I also love when my party like sets them up to talk to each other. And I'm like, you serious right now? I have to have a conversation with myself. No, I'm not doing it.
Have you
But
ever killed off an NPC to create an emotional impact for the players?
oh, absolutely. If you could ask, so you guys are interviewing main countermore Biff. Biff plays in 2 of my campaigns. She plays in Waterdeep and Dragonlance. You could ask her how many times she's been traumatized.
How many times
Hold
she's
on,
been
let me
what?
add
Traumatized.
Oh, traumatized, yeah.
Mhm.
Hold on,
Sometimes
hold
it's
on, let
not
me
my
pull up her
fault.
questions.
Sometimes it's not my fault that she's traumatized, but I will definitely kill off an NPC. I will definitely like cause problems with an NPC. I will definitely make the NPC seem like a good person and turn out to be the person that was against you all along. That's a shocker. Players don't like that one. They're like, this whole time? Yes.
Betrayal's awful.
Yeah, betrayal's awful. They don't like that. You save that one because that one's rough. But
Fate wants to play a character that betrays people one day, but that betrays the party. And it's a PvE at the end. And just like, no, you're not
yeah,
allowed.
there's a lot of people that want to play the bad guy that betrays, but you got to work with the DM back and forth. I've done it. I've had
Mhm.
people like be the big bad traveling with the party, or be working for the big bad. You go end friendships. Like people will get mad. They didn't talk to him for like a month and a half. He wasn't invited to anything anymore. He wasn't allowed at the person's house. It was like, oh my. It's like, it's just a game. He's like, no, he stabbed us in the back, literally. No, it was a game. He stabbed you in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some folks get so involved in a book or a movie the same way that they. Well, I guess it wouldn't be a book, but like a movie. I've met people who were really hated a particular character in a movie, and they then hated the actor because of that. I'm like, no, you should love and
Mhm.
appreciate that actor because they were really good at making you hate the character.
Like the actor that
Yeah.
played Joffrey. Like
Yeah.
that role
Oh, yeah.
ruined his ability to do anything else other than Joffrey, which is
Yeah.
so sad because he did such a good job at us hating Joffrey. Like I
Yeah.
hated that character, but like Fate and I afterwards would be sitting there talking about how amazing this guy is at acting. Like that we just if we saw him in the street, we would be like, I'd punch you if you were dressed in character. But
Yeah.
It's true. Like you, and that I think it's certain people can't like. Maybe they just can't get past the fact is like his acting was so good. They're like, no, he has to be that much of a prick in real life. Like I'm not sure.
that to me is wild.
Yeah.
But
So moving on though, now that we've, I'm curious how obviously, like you said earlier, one of your things that you prefer to do is modules now with your own stuff, you know, kind of filtered in and to fluff it up and theme it up and make it your own, you know, really own it. How do you? What's your DM style for making encounters interesting, for crafting entertaining encounters within the context of what you have going on?
So, creating encounters is also dependent on your players. I think one of the biggest things that you have to do is forget about what you want to happen. You got to figure out what your players are going to want to happen, and what your players are going to think about. So, if you have a group of players that are very druid eccentric, like want to role play constantly, well, then you got to give them all kinds of encounters that they can role play their way through it. So you create encounters where there's going to be some dialogue, maybe some bartering, some puzzles to solve. So you start creating role play encounters. But if you have combat heavy, like AJ in them, they would be happy if they could just fight the whole way. So then you create your encounters where, all right, maybe they're getting to this big bad guy, but they're going to fight these two groups in front. So like, let me tax them enough, but I got to leave enough at the end so that they can actually have a chance. So I start using tools like Cobalt Fight Club. Have you guys ever seen that site?
Say it again. What is
No.
it?
Okay, so it's Cobalt Fight Club. It's a site. And you can go there and basically you can add in every module you have and it gives you all the like NPCs. And then you put in your characters. I have 4 10th level characters and it gives you like what the difficulty level. Now, it's creates CRs and it's not perfect, but you make some adjustments and you get encounters, and it also like does like the daily, how much usage. So one of my favorite tools, because sometimes I got to be like, all right, they need to get them 2 freaking fights. How am I going to get them to do this? They're not going to be able to take this. I got to remove one of these guys. So it's always about balancing for your players. Whatever your players are up to is, and whatever they're going to enjoy. So I like for the combats, I always try to throw like a little challenge in there, and I give them the opportunity. They can talk their way out of everything. Like if they don't want to fight for one reason because they're feeling weak, they usually can talk their way out of it, negotiate. Some of them, no, they don't like you, they hate you. That's another thing. Some good encounters that like could have just been civil will go south if they make a mistake. So it all depends. But I think the biggest thing is challenging your players without trying to outright kill them. Like they know they have a chance. If they think they don't have a chance, then it's no longer going to be fun.
Agreed. 100%. Can you think of an encounter, whether it be a combat encounter, or actually, can you give an example of an RP encounter and a combat encounter that really stand out in your mind that you DM'd?
Did I DM'd? Okay, so I would say in Waterdeep, they actually no, I'll switch that. I'm gonna go back to Tyranny of Dragons. So the group in Tyranny of Dragons were very there was a couple of players that were very combat heavy, but they mostly for the rest of them wanted to role play. Okay. And they were in situations that basically required role play and stealth or cunning. They weren't able to fight their way through. So they had to just basically, put on a cloak, keep your head down, walk through the adventure, like walk through where you're at, interact with a couple of people. But because the combat heavy players felt that this is going to be a fight, this is going to be an encounter, we're going to have to fight our way through, they didn't progress. So they got stuck. So I was like trying to lure them out of that. They wanted to basically stay in a room, hide, and not go in to fight anything or do anything because they were worried that they were going to die because they were in an enemy stronghold. So I had to basically give them all jobs, separate them, and actually role play the situation where were like, you come over here, you need to help. And the NPCs that they were there to fight were actually pulling them into the story. So I had to role play that out. They made it through the whole thing without having to fight anyone. But as a DM, I had to force that situation.
Mm-hmm.
As far as combat stuff, watch Waterdeep. Almost everything is like combat in Waterdeep, and not because they don't try to role play, because a lot of things in Waterdeep are hateful. So the last fight they had, it was a pretty combat heavy fight, but they were fighting the first really dangerous wizard in Waterdeep. They're on level 10. I think it's level 10, and this is like the first high level wizard that by himself could take out the party. And it was shocking for them. Like I killed one person with Finger of Death. They went down. They were out for like most of the fight. And we had Biff. Basically, Biff got knocked out and was hanging on a hook, getting ready to be flayed. So it was a very dangerous, but it was full combat using everything at my disposal because it was a high level wizard. So they're not dumb. They know their spells. And he's centuries old.
Mhm.
and they took a whooping. Like, and then he got away. Like, they didn't even get to kill him because he was like, they're not dumb. They're not gonna fight to the death. He's like, oh, time to go. Bye. So they were pissed. But
Ooh.
those two recent situations that they did not like, but it was all combat eccentric. This thing saw them and immediately wanted to kill them. And they had,
Hmm.
and unfortunately for Biff, she was doing her role play and they kind of wandered away from each other, so it just made it easier to kill them. So I got to do the ambush tactic where I downed one of them immediately, then got the second one when they were separated, and then chased the rest of them. So good times.
Oh
Did
man, that sounds fun.
did those characters stay permanently dead, or did they did they survive in the end?
No, Biff was brought back. And then Cyril was brought back. They were both brought back. They were healed. We have a paladin in the party, so he ran up, lay hands, and there was
Gotcha.
heals thrown out, and they kept each other. But they, when you're brought back, you only have 3 or 4 hit points. So this thing would just turn around and firebolt and hit him again and knock him back out. So I think I knocked out Biff 3 times, and I knocked out Cyril like 4 times. Like they just kept getting up, getting knocked out, getting up, getting knocked out. It was like
Does that remind you of something, Druid?
That reminds me of Lorcris.
Oh no! Well, that too. I was thinking of that fight you guys had recently, where you saw the Deathstalker. Your entire party went down, and
Yeah.
in the end, you kept healing someone, and they'd get up and then get hit again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That too. But Lorcris throughout the entirety of Isles in the
I mean,
Mist it was a never
he just
ending.
loved flirting with Weejoss. That's the problem.
Mhm. That's true. He's flirting with death all the time. So you stream a lot of your campaigns. How do you handle
all
pacing?
of them now.
Yep. How do you handle the pacing methods? Like
So once again, it depends on the game and the group. So I can give you 2 examples on the far extremes. Waterdeep, there is no pacing. They do whatever they want. I just will lead them around through the game. They are free to choose anything they want to do. I will mess with them so they don't do because. So one of the jokes is they like to go back to the surface and take a break when they get their ass kicked, which I have a feeling that's probably what's going to happen the next time we play. So they fought this guy who basically trounced them. So they're going to go all the way back to the surface, rest up, try to level and do other stuff. This is where side quests come in. I will joke with them. I'm like, really? You're going back to the surface? But if they decide to go, they get to go. So I don't care. That campaign has been going on for 5 years. We have probably mixed in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6 different story modules from other sources into that game. So we've played some of the Adventure League stuff. We played Dragon Heist. We played Dungeon of the Mad Mage. So we've just thrown a bunch of stuff in there, and it's a very open world campaign for them. So whatever they want to do, I don't care. As long as they want to keep playing, I will work it out. And they kind of stay in Waterdeep. They don't travel too far out of Waterdeep. So everything happens in Waterdeep. And when I said open world, I was probably incorrect. It's more sandboxy inside of Waterdeep. So as far as pacing, as long as they're role playing, I will sit there quietly and let them do their role play until I can tell they're petering out. And then I'm like, all right, this is what's going to happen next. If they're not role playing, if they're just kind of talking out of character, I will jump in and prod them along. But as far as where they want to go, what they want to do, go for it. So that's the open part. The other campaign on the far end of that, the opposite, would be Strixhaven, the game you guys playing. Strixhaven, because of our schedules and because of what we're doing with Strixhaven, I have to be this has to end here. They need to get to here. I have to get to this. So I have to pay attention to what's going to happen during the campaign. And hopefully, because again, I hate railroading and I won't do it. So I believe in gentle coaxing. I believe in making it you're going to get here one way or another, whether you choose left or right. Those doors go to the same place, but you're going to have the belief that you have a choice. So I will definitely be mindful of times, whether if I have to be like, all right, they're not gonna make it. This part has to go out. Let me figure out how they're gonna get that information in the new part. Like, so I have to cut an entire scene or cut an entire encounter. Or wow, they're going really fast. Ooh, let me have an NPC run over and have a conversation with them. So with that one, it's all dependent on where I have decided you have to get to by the end of that session is what I'm going to do during that session. And overarching, like you have goals that should span 2 to 3 sessions that I will be like, all right, they're gonna finish that in 2 sessions. All right, that part that I took away over here because they were going too slow, now I'm putting it back in. So that's how I handle pacing. I just reshuffle things around to get the results I need at the end of the session.
That is
Have you ever
beautiful.
been in a situation like can you share any of your learning experiences of times in the past where you didn't pace it as well as you would like to have, and what you learned from that?
I do it all the time. So if you ever play in one of my one shots, we don't even call them one shots anymore. We call them long shots because I'll tell people I'll play a game with you. It'll take about 4 or 5 hours. And if everybody's having fun around the 4 hour mark, I'll be like, hey, going a little bit long and you're not going to finish. Because usually what happens with one shots is I don't know the players yet. I don't know how they're going to approach things. I don't know how to balance it out for them yet.
Mhm.
So they play in the one shot, and I'm like, something that should have taken 4 hours, 5 hours is now taking 10 hours. But as long as they're happy and having fun, I'll keep going. Or I'll be like, hey guys, you want to move it to a second session? So that's probably my biggest like thing that I should work on more because I want them to I want them to play the game. I want them to be free. I want them to do whatever. And I'm like, I'm here for whatever you guys throw at me. Like, do your worst. But in letting that happen, sometimes I'm letting the game like take way too long. And I don't like reining it in. So I think that's one of the things I need to get better at. But after all this time, I don't think it's gonna happen.
I
Like,
feel you.
rather,
That is
I'd
a
rather just
tough
play
balancing
again.
act. Yep.
Yeah. Like, hey, we'll play a second session. Don't worry about it. So that's how they get the nickname long shots. And I make a joke. Like I think I told you guys, but I'm tell everybody. Waterdeep game that has 5 years going started out as a one shot.
What? No way.
Yes.
So your Waterdeep is it using the 5e Waterdeep book?
Yeah, it's Dungeon of the Mad Mage, but that's not how it started. So, story. So that campaign started because I was watching a group of streamers that were playing Dragon Heist. And a bunch of us were watching the stream. We were fans. We were like hanging out and was like, well, I want to do one shot. But let's do a Dragon Heist adjacent story. So we basically played a story that was in Waterdeep that was happening on like in the background in conjunction with Dragon Heist. The reason we did that was so I can use the people playing in the game as NPCs. We started out a game. It was basically in Waterdeep. They went to a ball. It was a nice little short story. We played it, and the people that played, it was the same situation. We played, and they're like, "Hey, can we do it again?" Sure. 5 years now, we're still going. Now, over the 5 years, I have gone through many, many players, and from the original group, there's only one left, and that's Gimbal. But, one player got married, one player just disappeared, one player retired. So there were NPCs in the game still. Actually one of the players came back, after like 2 years of not playing just to come to the wedding or no, to a concert that was being given. So they but yes, the campaign has gone for 5 years. And if I tell you like all the things that they've done in it, you're like, that's not a Dragon Heist. Nope, it's not. It's not a Dungeon of the Mad Mage either. Some of that stuff just came out of here. Like, so like
That is-
Gimbal has time traveled. So he has time traveled in the past and met Hallister in the past when Waterdeep was nothing more than an encampment. Um, He has basically set the groundwork for stuff. It's like so many things that have gone on to poor Gimbal, and he keeps losing friends. He's starting to think he's the reason. But yeah. So yes, that's my 5-year long one shot. If I ever invite you
That's
to one shot, be careful. You might never get out.
that's epic. I love it, bud. That's fantastic. So, wow. Um,
That is beautiful.
in a way, you could argue that what you're doing is a homebrew, even though, like you said, you've incorporated lots of different modules and sources of material into it.
Mhm.
But it takes a homebrew mindset to do that, and then of course you have to come up with stuff as the glue to fit it all together. That's very much homebrew territory. So, but yeah.
So so we had talked about this before the thing, so I'll mention it again. So my take on homebrew is I don't really homebrew. And it's not to say I don't come up with concoctions and stories. I do. I don't build worlds. I don't go out and be like, oh, let me put a government together. Let me put a pantheon together. I've done that. It's fun, but I think it takes away from like your enjoyment of the game. There's a lot of reasons why I think it takes away from the enjoyment of the game. If you create all this stuff, one of the things you're going to want to do is make sure everybody has seen it. If you create all the gods, you're going to give a whole description of the gods to everyone, and you're going to talk about it, and you're going to try to get it out there, and you're going to say it a few times because they're not going to remember. You're also going to go and create a government, and then you're going to name all these people. And if you name all these people and create all these people, you're going to want to use them. You're going to want to like showcase them. You're going to want to show it off, which is great. But I don't need to do all that work. Somebody has done it for me. So I can just put that in my brain. There's websites that I can send people to, be like, you want to know what the gods are? Here, read this. I don't have to go through the effort. Why? So I can focus on the game and play D&D. So I think it's cool and all. And like I said, I've done it. But I think if you want to play, it takes so much more time to build all that stuff from scratch when you can just play and make it your own.
That is an interesting, I wouldn't call it a hot take, but it's definitely a different perspective. And I agree. Like, I got into D&D. I used modules. Some of my favorite experiences, both as a DM and a player, were modules. Sometimes I'll, in a homebrew, I'll inject a module into it just to help with the content. Over the years, though, for whatever reason, I just got to this point where I've done it so many times. I've done so many modules and stuff that now I just have this kind of database of stuff in my head that I can just craft on the fly.
Right. You know how many times like I'm like, oh, they want to go into this cave system. Keep on the Borderlands. Okay, no problem. And for anybody who's played for a long time, every one of you know who's keeping the Borderlands law. But I've played that module so many times that I have it memorized. So I can put a whole cave system together on the fly and just pull from that thing. Might not have the same map, but I'll definitely have the same encounters.
Right.
So we're a database of games. We played so many games over the years that you can just pull like index. What are they gonna fight? I need a big bad guy on a boat. No problem. Here we go. Next.
Edible Wizard says, as somebody that has only done homebrew, I still pull from some of the source books if they fit my story. Why make more work for yourself if somebody has already done it?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I just decided instead of pulling from it, I memorize a world and be like, all right, this is so Fantasy Grounds. That's why I play in Faerun. That's because I know so many different lore bits of it, so many different NPCs, so many different characters. That I could just somebody's like, who's the king? Oh, yeah, it's this guy. Or oh, okay. Does he have any sons? Yeah, he has sons. Because the players, a lot of players, I don't know if you get this story, but a lot of players want to do the gotchas. They'll be like, Does he have a wife? In fact, he does. Because you know what I mean? Like, you know the answer already. But you get players that try to catch you. They will ask you questions just because they're like, DM's not ready. So, but yeah, it's just having a world that I can reference that somebody's put a lot of effort into. Like, not even one person, hundreds of people have put effort into Faerun.
Yeah.
It's just like Greyhawk. You could pull so much information from Greyhawk and be like, hey, now again, I don't know Greyhawk as well, but after our last conversation, I went into some reading. I was curious, and yeah, there's a whole world. Like, I read a story that said Gary Gygax actually created the Greyhawk maps from actual maps of Chicago. Is that true?
Hmm. I
Like,
haven't
I'm
heard
not sure.
that. I know the maps, so I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe it wasn't. I don't know if it was Chicago. Wherever it was that he was at, he basically created the maps. Like, they said the beginning of the maps, you could lay it down and then trace it, and it would match up.
I mean,
And I was like, what?
that would be an interesting bit of lore that I'm unaware of. That's cool. I know that Greyhawk is my first D&D game world, and I've
Mhm.
DM'd in it many times, and I like it as much, if not more, than like Forgotten Realms. But I also think Forgotten Realms, like, it took some ideas that were in Greyhawk and made them better. I kind of see Greyhawk as DC and Forgotten Realms as Marvel, if that's a good, kind of comparison.
It is for me because I prefer Marvel. So
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, I figured that'd be the case. Yeah, and a lot of people do. A lot of people prefer Marvel over DC. And but I personally, I love both DC and Marvel, and I love both Greyhawk and Forgotten Realms. But yeah, I've had more experiences in Greyhawk, and that just goes to show how much content is out there. So I think you make a very wise and valid point that if you just want to have fun with your group and your players, the having a module, especially with the newer 5e stuff, where they basically have created a campaign that's a bunch of old modules put in there, or it's crafted around an old module. Like what was the one they did not long ago that was it called Tomb of Annihilation? And it was basically built around the original Tomb of Horrors.
yes,
Yeah,
they recreated it.
Yeah, I think that's neat that they basically took a module that was meant to be, an experience that's a few sessions, and then they expanded it into a whole campaign.
Was I the only one that got that dead bit in there? Like, Stormy's cutting in and out for me.
Am I cutting in and out?
Well, you only did it one time, so am I the only one that
Was
heard
it
that?
like a run on to his sentence? Like, did he like pause and it like kind of like cut off the beginning of his sentence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's like, but I mean, I got the gist of what he was saying. So I filled in the blank, but I don't know if he was having mic problems. Yeah. No, I think that like, being able to put stuff in there is great, and having the sources. But again, yeah, I just want to play. There's so many different things that you could pick up and run. And again, if you make them your own, people don't even know they're playing the same thing unless you tell them. Plus, I remember I got to run. Not that I got to. I choose to do it because I love doing it. But if I play 5 different campaigns now, let's see, one.
That's I'll be
Wednesday,
I
Thursday,
got to
Friday,
give you
Saturday.
props, dude. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. 5 different campaigns plus one shots that I will run every now and then. So,
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot to take. It's a lot to keep track of if you don't have like a good source. And Aaron gives me a great source. So
I have kept track of 2 homebrews at the same time, and it was tough. I can totally see how the advantage of using modules, using a module campaign would be fantastic for instances where, like, if you could have one group that you're doing a homebrew for, and the other group you do the module book for, because then you don't have to worry about it. You can just you just have to, for prep time is basically you look at where they're at in the book, and you have to think about the next session and what's there, and you just reread it, and it's that's nice. Star Kitty, I'm going to share that in our Sunday offline campaign with our local friends, our local group, we're about to finish that campaign, and it's been run by my friend Thrasher, Thrallstar. Most of the years that we've been playing, like 9 years, I was the one running everything, but he, for the last year and a half, has run this campaign, and it's a homebrew, draconic kind of world, dragons versus giants. It's actually kind of cool, but he's about finished, and for the first time ever, Star Kitty is going to try DMing, and she's going to start off with a 5e converted version of the Palace of the Silver Princess, which is a
nice,
amazing classic old, one of my favorite classic old modules from back in the day.
Mm-hmm. That's the other thing. You could change anything into a new campaign, and there's so many to go back to. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
No,
you're good.
fine.
I'm just hoping that she likes it enough to just run some one shots that I could be a part of. Because I would totally do a cat campaign and RP a cat in a fantasy cat world. I don't care what it is. I will literally, she can tell me what to play, and I will play whatever. Like, I'm like, whatever you want, Star Kitty, just tell me when. So I'm just going to cut in here real quick and just, we have a couple questions here from chat.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Random Cosmic Horror asks, how do you balance your party and give all PCs their moment in the spotlight?
That's a great question. Ooh, I like that.
One, you have, like, all right, so different players want a different amount of spotlight. So you have to, one, make sure that you're not giving somebody spotlight they don't want. And I referenced one of my friends, Craig. We put him on the spot, and because he panicked and didn't want to make a wrong decision that affected the rest of the party, he decided, I don't want to play anymore. So that's why I say you got to be careful with that. And it wasn't like we had to take a break from the game, but once you take a break, sometimes you don't get back to it. So, so that's first and foremost. Make sure that the players are up for whatever you're going to throw at them. Know your players. After that, it's just about creating little story arcs for each of them. So, in my Waterdeep campaign, I have to be careful because love her to death, but Biff likes to get into stuff. So sometimes I'll create a story arc for someone else, and Biff will jump into it. This is how she gets traumatized, because I'm like, you're not supposed to be there. But you have to create little things that are specific for each party member, and then let them jump at it and let them run with it. And everybody should know, like we just did in Dragonlance, Rhino plays in all my games. Everybody knows who Rhino is. If you don't, he's an amazing dude. But he plays in all my games. But usually he's very, laid back. He does his thing. He has fun. He role plays. He's our pun master. We have a pun counter just for Rhino. But he doesn't really, yeah. So he doesn't usually have too many story arcs. And the last session, he finally got a story arc where he did his test of high sorcery in Kryn. So he's a wizard. So it was going to be that was his solo moment. It was just going to be him, and it was all centered around him. And he was like, you guys are going to come with me, right? So the whole party went, because he preferred that the party was there with him. So, you give them their little things. You try to figure out who wants it, who wants to do more with it, and you just shuffle it around. So I, have a list of well, this person's done this and this. All right, it's this person's time, so let me start bothering with them. And I also this is why I love backstories, because backstories matter, especially when you want to give a character like a story arc that takes over some of the sessions. Gotta have a background, and then it comes back and bites them. So, like, I have players that refuse to give me a background because they know what's going to happen.
I gave you so much background, and I'm
I
so
know.
hyped. I'm so hyped for whatever emotional trauma that happens. I am
Mhm.
ready. I'm
Hmm.
ready. I
Yes,
have
it's
So
cousins on the list. There's
I
yeah,
cousins
know.
and aunts.
Say her list of family members for those is like I have a 20 whatchamacallit, I have a full monitor over here, right? And I have the whole chat on it. And her list of family members, I had to scroll. I was like, what the hell? Oh, okay, there's more. It was great, but I was like, I love it. So just a bunch of people I can use to mess with the players. But
Mhm,
as far as as far as answering the question, it's just basically know your players and then try to give them all these little feeds that they can jump in on. The people who want to role play are going to snatch onto it, and you can kind of steer everyone else away from it by giving them other things to do. So, and just give everybody a turn. Usually, like a story arc will last like 3 or 4 sessions. With me 8, but but everybody gets one.
mhm.
yeah. So Random Cosmic Horror also asks, what's your favorite dragon type?
Red.
Why?
Why? Because
Mhm.
they're the meanest. Remember, I play the bad guys a lot, so if I'm gonna pick one, I'm gonna pick the ones that are best. Um, there's so There's another one that I like, but it's more obscure and not too many people know about it. So the Shadow Dragons from the Underdark.
Mhm.
The character Haavok basically is half Shadow Dragon. So they hold a special place for me. But for
Yeah.
the more common, Red Dragon.
Cool. Right on.
I've been obsessed with the concept of the pink dragon since you brought them up. Just know. Since I've
They
learned
have
about it, those are my favorite.
Yeah, they have all kinds.
It's so good. All right, V asks, Dad, how long does it usually take you to create a fully fleshed out NPC?
Weeks. So everybody here has made a PC, right? Everybody has made a character. You come up with a character, you make it, you create a concept for the character, and then you think it over a few times, right? No, this is going to fit better into the story, or this is going to fit better the way the player is playing, right?
Mhm.
Same thing happens to the DM. The DM, I create an NPC and go, all right, this is what I want the NPC to be like, and this is what they're supposed to do. And like I said, I gave you an example earlier. I made a character sell wagon. That's all he
Mm.
had to do, and he became their go-to contact. Like, hey, yeah, what do you know about these people? I don't know nothing. Why don't you know anything? What do you mean? He became like a reluctant freaking informant. And that was over a couple of sessions. So yes, and I can come up with a character in probably 20 minutes, be like, all right, this is what I want him to be like. And over the course of like several sessions, everything changed. So yes, weeks, just like players do.
Hmm. Viana asks, why do you prefer to DM instead of being a player? I'm going to leave the question right there. Let him answer.
So I like to be a DM because I there's a lot of reasons why I like to DM. Um, One, I'm picky. So as a player, I'll get into the thing and I'll start like sitting there going, "Why are you doing this to me?" But I won't rules lawyer. So that's the other thing. It's like I know I'm sitting at somebody's table and I have to respect their rules. But it starts to bug me after too long. And I'll talk to the DMs and be like, "Hey, I have a question about this." But I just prefer to be like, this is what I'm doing at my table, and I don't like change. um, I it just it I don't enjoy it as much. That's basically the way to say it. Yeah, control. I don't
I'm
enjoy
gonna
it as
read.
much.
I'm gonna read the full thing that she wrote.
Oh no, he saw it.
No. I just saw silver. Why? There was more to the question. I
Yeah.
had the
So
chat pretty much blocked.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
figured
I only
so-
saw
I wanted
silvers.
him to answer without me qualifying it because sometimes it. But I'm curious
Yeah.
now if he wants to.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
You want
I
to
started
read
blocking
the second part
chat
there, Drew?
because- Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say the follow up after the main question was: is it mainly based on the fact you have more control over the situation?
Yeah, pretty much. It is.
And I figured that was the case, which is why I wanted to stop and hear his answer first.
Yeah. Yeah, it is the control. Like I'm playing in the game on Wednesday, and so I'm a player on Wednesday. I'm not DMing, and
Mhm.
Thorn is running us through a homebrew, and he's he's added a lot of components from different campaigns and stuff. So you could actually watch. We TPK'd yesterday, but I think it was a planned TPK. So I'm interested to see how he's gonna recover from that. So I don't think we were meant to win the fight, but we did pretty good. We got the big bad down to like 5 points.
Wow.
But I don't think we were meant to win at all. So during the fight, you could see that every now and then something happened. Now, when I am a player, I use push to talk. I don't talk over the DM or the other players, and I can still interact with chat. And you can hear me in the thing going, "What the hell is that spell that he's using? I don't understand it," and it drives me crazy. So like you can hear me venting about it. So yeah, it's probably just the control aspect. But I was gonna say I'm not seeing the questions because last time I remember I read a question and answered it in chat. So I specifically covered the chat this time around. So I won't
Good for
read the
you. Good for you.
questions.
Never tilted. Never tilted asks, how do you go about crafting your characters? What is the main inspiration behind them?
My
I think you
child,
answered
my
that.
life. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did answer it earlier, but I'll just repeat it. My life. Things that happen in my life, people I've played with, games I've played, cartoons I watch, shows, just memorable characters. So, I'll just pull stuff from things and people will just be like, is that so and so? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Now, I'm not great at voices, so that's the other thing. I'm not great at voices, but I definitely can give characters personality. And that's why I like playing face to face or at least having the cameras on because you can tell from my facial expressions like different characters, like the way they act, the way so I'll do that. But I'm working on the voices. I'm trying to get better. Every now and then I'll give a voice and it's like Biff gets thrilled. She's like, "Oh, we're getting a voice. This guy's important." I'm like, "No, fine." And then now that character has spiraled out of control because I gave it a voice.
No.
Yes.
So,
So funny.
even though we have more questions from the audience, I just thought of a question and then I completely forgot what it was. So I'm going to go ahead and ask the next question. Survival is Gaming
But
asks,
you're not getting it.
how do you bring an end to a campaign or extended one shot? Almost feels like it shouldn't end, I can imagine.
So, well, with the one shots, they usually have an end. So, because they've extended, I'm usually trying to get to that end. So, like a lot of times, I don't know if you guys know, but I'll run Keys from the Golden Vault. Keys from the Golden Vault is a collection of like missions where you're thieves. So you're not supposed to fight your way through. You're supposed to use all your skills to get through. And they have end goals. So you have to steal the golden idol. So once you get the golden idol and get it to return it to whoever you have to return it to, campaign's over. Your characters still exist and they can come back in the next adventure. But, that's the end of that particular mission. For certain campaigns, like we just finished Tyranny of Dragons. Tyranny of Dragons. Well, no, we didn't finish Tyranny of Dragons. I'll rephrase. We finished Horde of the Dragon Queen, first part of Tyranny of Dragons. We finished. They got to the point where we fought the big bad guy. We made a deal with the giants. We crashed the castle. We're good to go. Actually, they didn't crash the castle, but they ended. And it's just because that one has a second part, it was left that they're heading back to give their report we'll see what happens afterwards. So, you leave them on like kind of like they do in the movies where you leave it on like, oh, there could be a second part or we're done. But you got to give them an end. So as long as they have a tangible end and a potential for another campaign, that's kind of where I leave stuff because I never know. I'm like, hey, we might play again. So
I like it. I like it. Lady M. Hi. Question: how do you handle when a player is upset with an outcome?
conversation. Talk it out. Try like we do have. So here's the thing: you can't please everybody. I've gone through many players, and I try to play with as many people as I can. But you can't please everybody. Some people, it's either your DM style is not good, they don't like the way the dice rolled, or whatever. One of the things that work in my favor is all my players know that I play raw. So I do the rules as written so that they can understand. And if there's a disagreement, we can talk it out. I'm like, here's my sources. This is why I made the rule this way. You got something that's better. And usually my sources are WotC or like Crawford or one of the game developers. So this way everybody knows what to expect. So if there's like I made a judgment call that they don't like, I usually can explain it that way. If somebody dies or something bad happens, I mean, I haven't had anybody get like really upset yet with dying because they know it's part of the game. Um but you talk to them like, hey, they could get you a res or they can, you kind of explain to them. It's usually the newer players that like, "Oh, I'm dead. I can't ever play again." No. You're fine. Hold on. Like, there's ways around that. This is a magical realm. Don't worry. There's usually conversation is how you deal with players that don't like outcomes. You got to make sure that they understand, hey, it's a game and there's ways to work that out. But if they're really upset, it's like, well, this might not be the game for you because I go out my way to make sure my players are having fun and I try to include everyone. But if you're not having fun and I'm giving it my all, I don't know what you're expecting. And if you're not telling me, because I try to learn my players. I try to figure out what they like. I try to figure out what's going to get them motivated, keep them happy, keep them entertained, challenge them. And if they're not giving me any feedback, eventually they're just going to peter out and not play anymore. So
Speaking of, have you ever had a player stop playing and never played D&D again because they died in your campaign?
yeah, that's a loaded question, but yes, that has happened to me.
Rain's bringing it up in chat. That's the
Yeah,
other
that's
reason
why I brought it up. That's why I asked.
Yeah, it did happen to me. So we had a player. This was in the Waterdeep campaign.
Mhm.
It was one of the founding players. Her name was oh my god, I can't remember her character's name. Athlon. Wait, no, that's not right. All right. Anyway, she was playing the game, and Artemis. That's it. Artemis. Thank you. I don't know who Athlon is, but Artemis. She was playing the game for years. Everything was fine, fantastic. Nothing bad happened in that campaign. We decided to play a one shot because we had a night off. I think somebody was on vacation. So I had told everybody, hey, you guys want to play? We'll play this game. Make a couple of characters because you're going to die. And they were like, oh, okay. So we were playing Minds of Madness, which was basically designed to challenge players and see how far they can get, make earning points. And basically, you played it at cons. It was meant to happen. Like, you were supposed to kill the characters in like 3 to 4 hours. I told you about Minds of Madness. So Artemis decides she made a couple of characters and decided to play. But she says that any game she plays, the minute she dies, she doesn't play the game anymore. And I'm like, okay, well, this is just a one shot, so I guess it's not going to be a big deal. We played the game. I managed to kill off all her characters. I think she made 2 or 3 of them, whatever it was. And the following week, our normal session went. So we were like, all right, we're going to play some D&D. And I'm like, hey, you coming? Like, what's going on? She's like, I told you if I died, I wouldn't play anymore. I'm like, but it was a one shot. Like you signed a waiver. You weren't supposed to like we said, if you die here, it doesn't count in the real thing. No, she quit. Still friendly with all of us. Like she was the one that came to the wedding after like 2 years. But oh, not the wedding, but the concert. I don't know why I have wedding in my head. But she came to the concert. Yeah, I have actually logins that say sign the waiver. So people are reminded that you have the potential to not survive this game. But yeah, she hung it up. Didn't play D&D anymore with us. That was so I had a conversation. I was like, so what's your character gonna do? She ended up getting involved with a noble, moving out. And she's like a NPC now in the game that comes and visits them every now and then or influences things that happen to them. No, Silver, you didn't get a waiver. But you haven't died yet. Calm down. Oh, wait, you have. Never mind.
Random Cosmic Horror asks, how often do you fudge a dice roll for the rule of cool?
So, rule of cool, I generally don't fudge the dice roll. I just say it happens. I'm like, you know what? That's amazing. I'm not rolling. Okay. Or sometimes I will have them roll a dice, but I have made the DC so incredibly low that I don't have to fudge it. And I also have a saying at the dice want to tell a story. So I also believe that failing sometimes is just as cool as succeeding. So the honest answer is never. I don't fudge. There's a couple of reasons why I don't fudge. One, my players can see their dice rolls, so they know what they rolled. But also, if you guys watch my stream, my dice are on the screen. So if I fudge a dice roll, the chat can see it, and I'm not doing that to myself.
Yeah.
So never. So I just go with the thing like that was amazing. I'm gonna let it happen because they know I'm just like no, just go for it. So yeah.
If I were to answer that same question, well, the first part of it, I'm with him 100% that if rule of cool applies, then you just let it happen. It doesn't have to necessarily have to do with the roll. Although we've had cool experiences with you need to roll a nat 20 in this moment. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And then they do. You know, those kinds of moments have happened. You remember, Druid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got very stupid after that.
Yeah. My answer, she got super cocky after that, didn't she?
Well, you know what? He failed the roll. And now he's stupid and dead.
So, if you were to ask me how often I fudge a dice roll, my answer would be, you'll never know.
So, he does, though.
Do I?
That'll by his answer.
I would say, I think every DM has fudge dice rolls. But again, like I said, my dice can be seen. So I won't do it because I'm not getting called out for it.
Right.
Now, my players can't see it. But if they go back and watch the VOD or somebody in chat would be like, hey. So, like I said, I usually try to set it up where they can succeed as far as making the DC good DC or, you know what, that was really cool. I'll give you advantage on it. I'll try to set it up for them. But like I said, the dice, sometimes they want to tell a different story than we're going for. And, you get really good players that will embrace a failure and run with it in the most creative ways. And you have other ones that are like, well, I don't want to play no more today. God damn it. But for the most part, it's we have good, I can't do it because I'm going to get caught. So I got to just be like, all right, here we go. Roll it.
Roll the dice.
Well, we're kind of coming to the end of things tonight. It's been a treat to chat with you about your DM style of things and your origin story and getting to know about you. Do you have anything else that you would like to add? A bit of DM wisdom for the folks out there.
DM wisdom.
Yeah.
become a DM. If you want to play D&D, become a DM. No, DM wisdom. I think everybody should just do it. A lot of people will say, I don't want to be a DM. I don't think I can do it. I think anybody can be a DM, and just depends on your group of people. Learn your players, learn what their expectations are, and try. Remember, you're there for them to have a good time. It's not about your story, it's their story and the dice, but it's their story mostly. So
Agreed.
if they want to go and, we want to storm the castle and be evil players, be like, you're going to do what? Okay. Now, generally, you make a contract with your players and you're agreeing to tell the same story, but don't limit how they get there. You know what I mean? If they think this is the right way to do it, let them try it. So that's the big thing. Learn your players. I think that's the biggest thing, because if not, you're trying to force them to do the things you want, and they're never going to do it. Some of them will actually rebel. And then you have anarchy and chaos. And while that can be fun in certain circumstances, at a table, it's not.
Yep. Great advice. Haavok, you're a genuine treat, and I appreciate you so much. I'm so looking forward to it. I'm saddened that we don't get to play until the 18th, but that's the way it is. It works out because of our schedule too. So, I'm really enjoying the Strixhaven campaign a lot. And guys, go check out Haavok's 5 different campaigns that he's DMing.
Well, I play in 5. I'm a player in 1, but we're about to start another one, so I'll be back up to 6.
Wow.
It's so much. I told you, I really like playing D&D.
Obviously. And with that, guys, I appreciate you, Haavok. It's been an honor to have you on the show, man. And we'll be seeing you out there in the Twitchverse, in the River of Twitch soon.
Thank you. Thank
Bye,
you for
bro.
having me. Bye, everyone. Bye, sis.
Wow. God dang, the time went by so fast.
I know.
They had some great questions. Like, my goodness, that one question that Random Cosmic Horror asked, I think we almost should add that to the list of topics, or at least kind of remember it. The one where he asked, how do you balance your party and give all PCs their moment in the spotlight? That's really cool. That's a great question. I love what Haavok had to say about things and his perspective on things. And I think it makes the game richer. It makes all TTRPGs richer when you have DMs with these different play styles. And when you match up the players in the right way with the right DM, it creates magic, and it's a treat. So, announcements tomorrow. We're having Main Cow on Bandwidth and Banter, which is super cool, coincidental, since she's one of his players in a couple of his campaigns, I think.
5th.
And I think that's fantastic. So I'm looking forward to hanging out with her and get to know her better. Share her with our community. And then, of course, Saturday we have Dragon Metal Saga, so don't forget that. And you have anything else that you want to add there, Druid?
I love you guys.
Ditto. I appreciate you guys. I love you all so much for being here. Let's wrap this up with a bow, shall we? Thank you for coming to the show.
Please drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below.
And if you're listening to the podcast,
please rate and review the episode.
We are Bandwidth
and Banter.
Thank you.
And good night.
Bye.